Hello and welcome to the Partnership and Network General Overview. What is this training presentation? This is a training that provides a high-level overview of partnership with Second Harvest Heartland, your agency relations team, and the Hunger Relief Network. Who should view this training? At least one person from your program should view this training. This training is best suited for a program's primary contact person with Second Harvest. That's the person or persons that work most closely with Second Harvest. Volunteers and or staff who manage, coach, or train others. Executive directors, board members, and others in leadership roles, and anyone interested in learning more about partnership or the Hunger Relief Network. Is this training required? Yes. We ask that at least one person per program take this training prior to starting partnership, or when there's turnover in significant roles, such as the executive director or person who is Second Harvest primary contact. This training is available to all, and you're welcome to share this internally as best meets your staff and volunteer training needs. Is there anything else you should know? We can help make onboarding new volunteers and staff easier. We have other helpful trainings like food safety and civil rights, and you can find those trainings on Agency Zone. If you don't see what you need, please let us know. And I want to add that we will be following up by sending a copy of this presentation after you have attended, and you will find live links throughout this presentation that can help lead you to additional information. First, I want to talk a little bit about the network. This is a snapshot of the network. As you can see, the food bank sources donations from manufacturers, distributors, grocery stores, convenience stores, local farmers, through food drives, government programs, and also purchasing. And then the food bank distributes that food to partner programs. So those are partners like food pantries and food shelves. We also have other non-traditional partners like schools and hospitals and clinics that we reach with other programming. Ultimately, the food gets to those who are experiencing hunger. And quite often we're asked, what is the difference between a food bank and food shelf? And if you've ever read a news story, sometimes you see that reporters and others get the two confused. A food bank is an organization that collects, sorts, and distributes food, including large quantities and bulk items. They distribute these to a variety of meal sites, food shelves, shelters, and other approved locations within a community. A food shelf serves individuals and families by distributing foods directly to those in need. Second Harvest mission is to end hunger together. To do that, we partner with over 1,000 programs. These programs bring communities together to increase food security in urban, suburban, and rural areas within the 59 county service area that Second Harvest serves. The dedicated staffs and volunteers are the lifeblood of this network. Second Harvest could not accomplish its mission to end hunger without your partnership and hard work. Who is in our Hunger Relief Network? And when I say our, I by no means indicate ownership on behalf of Second Harvest. We are just a part of this network, like many others. One of the most important part of the Hunger Relief Network, in my opinion, is partner agencies. These are the food shelves, community meals, pop-up distributions, produce distributions, backpack programs, and more. They are all independent nonprofits or faith-based organizations. The food bank is also a part of the network. We're also very fortunate to have other hunger relief organizations and organizations that support our work. And these are groups that advocate, raise awareness, and support. Just some examples of these organizations are Hunger Solutions, Partners to End Hunger, SHIP, which is the Statewide Health Improvement Partnership, University of Minnesota Extension, MFAN, Minnesota Food Share, the Food Group, and there are so many more. Feeding America is also part of our network. They are a nationwide network of food banks that help Second Harvest leverage additional resources for our local network. And then we also work with 6 regional food banks in Minnesota, Western Wisconsin, and North Dakota. Because the network relies so much on agency partners, and they are asked to do so much to meet the needs in their community, the food bank plays many roles in order to provide support. Our primary function is to provide food to agency partners so they can distribute directly to their communities. That means we source donations and purchase many varieties of food. We manage the distribution of government commodities to eligible programs. We also have other programs like food rescue, produce, to round out our inventory and bring additional food resources to communities. We have a nutrition policy to encourage nutritional foods, and a farm to food shelf, which is a legislative program that is providing funding to farmers in order to encourage them to donate into the emergency food system. We're also working to develop and strengthen our culturally and dietary specific foods. And we really welcome your feedback. You know what your communities need, so please tell us what you and your clients want to see at the food bank and on our inventory list. Where does the food come from into the food bank? As you can see, retail food rescue makes up the biggest chunk of food that we get in. The second biggest is ag surplus. These 2 pieces of the pie have been steadily growing, whereas donations from local and national manufacturers and distributors, so for example, donations from General Mills or Cargill, do make up a significant portion, but we have seen decreases as time goes on. We also purchase food. Quite often, staples like sugar and flour and other items are not donated into the emergency food system, so the food bank purchases these items with donated dollars in order to round out our inventory list. And then the light blue sliver that you see at the top represents food drives. They still play an important role in bringing variety into our inventory. We also support the network with advocacy. We advocate at the state and national level for legislation and funding. Feeding America also advocates at the national level to benefit food banks, their partners, and the people we all serve. Fundraising is also an important part of our work. Approximately 96% of the donations we receive go directly back into programming and services. These funds are used to purchase food, maintain trucks, transport incoming food, storage, fulfilling orders, supporting partners, and a lot more. The cost of food is heavily subsidized by Second Harvest fundraising. For example, in 2019, our cost per pound was 23 cents. An agency's share of that cost was less than 2 cents. Some agencies have large staff with robust budgets, and other programs are run exclusively by volunteers. And every community has different resources available to support the local food shelf. Because we rely so much on agency partners to get the food where it needs to go, we feel it's important to use our size and scope to support agency partners in the basic aspects of their work and be there when they increase access. We achieve this in 2 main ways: capacity building and compliance. Our goal is to support capacity growth throughout the network in partnership with those providing direct service. And we also want to maintain the integrity of the hunger relief network. With capacity and network building, we support partners by complementing their strengths and local knowledge. We provide resources, sector experience, and specialized consultation. Because agencies are so different, no solution is a one-size-fits-all. So we really need to work with agencies one-on-one and tailor solutions that best fit their needs. We also convene the network and connect agency partners with one another and sector resources. And you'll also find that we collaborate internally with other Second Harvest teams like transportation and sourcing, food rescue, etc., who also touch our agency partners. With compliance, we support partners in meeting compliance in all areas. This means adhering to food safety laws and best practices to ensure food is stored and delivered safely. We'll talk more about compliance in a bit. I'd like to share a little bit about our agency partners. Who are they? We have over 300 agencies with about 600 programs. So we partner directly with an agency, say for example, Catholic Charities. And Catholic Charities has dozens of programs. They have a food shelf, they have meal programs, they have rehab facilities, homeless shelters. So Catholic Charities is the agency, and those programs I mentioned are programs underneath their agency. There are over 400 food shelves, pantries, and other emergency programs like shelters and soup kitchens. There are over 155 supplemental programs, such as free farmers markets, senior dining, and backpack, or other youth programs. About half of agencies have no paid staff. I want to note here that everyone in the network relies on volunteers, the food bank and the food shelves. We could not do our work without them. And it's important to note that all agency partners are independent nonprofits who raise their own funds and are responsible for every aspect of their organization. These are just a few snapshots from around the network. This is a network map. This is actually takes up a whole wall in our Brooklyn Park Distribution Center. And I really like how it says Second Harvest Heartland, powered by the Hunger Relief Network. That could not be more true. We are powered by the network and powered by you and programs like yours. This is a little bit closer shot of the network. The dots represent agency partners. So there's about 300 some dots out there. If we actually put dots out for programs, there would be a lot more dots, and they'd probably be spread out a little bit wider throughout each of the counties that you see. Partnership expectations and responsibilities. Partnership responsibilities fall within three main categories: a strong and committed stewardship of donated product per the 170E3 tax code, following program appropriate food safety laws and best practices, ensuring clients feel welcome and their rights are protected. And I do want to note that these expectations are also requirements for the food bank. We'll start with stewardship. For-profit organizations donating food can receive an enhanced tax deduction as long as their charitable donations are guaranteed to meet the following criteria. The product is distributed by a 501c3 or a faith-based organization, as meets the IRS definition. Product is used solely for the care of the ill, the needy, or infants. That's the IRS's language, not ours. And product is not transferred in exchange for money, property, or services. Food and products can only be stored, prepared, distributed, or served at locations authorized by Second Harvest Heartland. Food and products cannot be shared with other organizations. Even other nonprofits are well-intentioned groups. Exceptions may be made for sharing with other Second Harvest partners. Please contact Agency Relations for guidance to ensure that you do this within compliance and get guidance. Clients cannot be required or expected to provide a donation of money, time, or labor in order to receive food. and a majority of the program's participants should be low income or in crisis. This should be a self-declared need. By accepting a self-declared need from individuals, we eliminate a barrier. People should not have to explain why they need help. And in order to determine if a majority of your participants are low income, there is flexibility to determine a way to be in compliance and best suit your program. Agency relations can help as needed. I also want to note there are exceptions for testing product as well. If you want to test product to make sure that it is still healthy and good to eat, or you want to experiment to try moving it to clients, say for example, to test it in a recipe, these uses are acceptable. Again, please check in with agency relations for more information and to ensure compliance. Food and products from Second Harvest, and this does include food rescue, can only be distributed directly to agency clients. It cannot be sold, transferred, bartered, or offered for sale in exchange for money, property, or services. I want to note especially that it cannot be used for gift, prizes, or fundraisers. So if you receive hams from Second Harvest, they can't be used in the meal of a fundraiser or used as a raffle item, as an example. Food can also not be used for the personal use of staff or volunteers. There is an exception for staff or volunteers who do meet eligibility requirements and follow the same process as another client would, with no preferential treatment. Please work with agency relations for guidance. How does Second Harvest Heartland support agency partners? We follow the same rules. We also provide receipts to corporations for their taxes, thereby guaranteeing donations will be used in accordance with the 170E3 tax code. And we also provide individualized consultation, resources, trainings, food rescue guidelines, and more to support agency compliance. Next, we'll move on to food safety. In addition to harming someone, which none of us wants to do, a foodborne illness puts the entire network at risk. We are protected by the Good Samaritan Act, but it is also a call to action to be proactive. The Act ensures that agency partners and Second Harvest are protected from potential liability were someone to become ill from eating food we provided if we are acting in good faith. Good faith means that we are being proactive in managing recalls, meeting standard food safety practices, and ensuring that volunteers and staff are trained in food safety as relevant to the type of food program. Food safety includes receiving, handling, preparing, sourcing, and storing food in ways that prevent foodborne illness. People who experience undernourishment, stress, inequities, trauma, and illness are at higher risk for foodborne illness. Programs must comply with all laws and ordinances in relation to their program type. You also must maintain licensing as required by state, county, and/or city authorities and/or Second Harvest requirements as appropriate. Programs must also follow Minnesota and Wisconsin law around local donations of food like meat, wild game, and eggs. All programs are required to have food safety training. Meal and snack programs are asked to obtain a food protection manager certification. Even if you're a snack program that is putting a frozen pizza in a pizza oven, this does require food manager certification. Any type of food prep at all will require this type of food safety training. If you're a grocery giveaway program like food shelf, backpack, or produce distribution, the Serve Safe Food Handler Guide for Food Bank training is provided online from Second Harvest. Training requirements are for at least one person at your program. For meal and snack programs, this should be the person in charge of preparing food and overseeing preparation. We strongly encourage that programs who are preparing meals always have a food manager on site during meal prep. And you should also consult local ordinances and laws for meal prep and licensing requirements. For meal and snack programs, you do need to obtain food manager certification within 45 days of hire or obtaining your new role. And normally this license does renew every 3 years. So it is your responsibility to keep the license current. For grocery programs, as I mentioned, we provide an online food safety training, and we ask that within hire or obtaining a new role, that training is completing within 10 business days. And while once is the requirement, we do encourage you to include food safety training as a part of your overall food safety plan and consider refresher training periodically. Best practices for food safety at your program include implementing an ongoing food safety training and practices plan within your program, providing training for staff and volunteers as appropriate for their role, and providing ongoing supervision, coaching, and correction during day-to-day work. We're also tasked to manage recalls. At least 2 staff or volunteers should be identified to Second Harvest to respond to our recalls. These are recalls of product that we have provided to you. We also strongly recommend you subscribe to Second Harvest recall list and have a recall plan so you're ready if and when there is a recall. Consider how you will onboard new volunteers and keep ongoing training for existing volunteers as well. What support does Second Harvest provide? We follow the same rules and best practices, and we provide training and resources. We ourselves are inspected frequently to ensure we are following food safety laws. We also maintain food manager certification by key staff. So for example, the agency relations staff that do compliance visits do have food manager certification. We also provide food safety guidelines, that ongoing personal consultation for your program, trainings, site visits, and more to support agency compliance. Some food safety resources we have include food dating information. We have a recall plan template. We can also tell you more about local laws regarding eggs and meat and wild game. We have handy posters that you can post in receiving and sorting and shelving areas to help guide volunteers. When situations arise like COVID, we also provide resources around that and support. And there is a click to our food safety resources on this slide for later reference. The next section we're going to talk about is ensuring that clients feel welcome. There are numerous best practices and requirements that help ensure fair and respectful treatment of all beneficiaries. Annual civil rights training is a requirement for partners. Reducing barriers should be an ongoing goal for the food bank and programs. We know that stigma prevents those needing help from seeking it. So what can we do to reduce stigma? Encouraging a culture of generosity is a way to make people feel welcome and ensure that they get their needs met. We should always be asking ourselves, who are we missing and how do we reach them? Ultimately, we should treat others as they would like to be treated. Good customer service and respect for all protect the integrity of the network and the emergency food system as well. What support can you expect from Second Harvest Heartland? We will provide training materials. We will also be able to consult and support you on best practices. We can connect you to mentors or subject matter experts in the network. We have outreach tools and can help consult you on specific outreach questions for your community. We convene the network so agencies can network and learn and teach each other. We can help point you to data and demographics that can help you better understand your community. And we can also advise you on client surveys. Client surveys are an excellent way to get feedback about your program, and we can help you every step of the way. We can help you in best practices of drafting the survey, analyzing the results, making some of those into action plans, and how you share those results back with clients in your community. And what else can we do to support you, and what can we do better? You are the experts on who lives in your community and what the need is. Like you, Second Harvest values diversity and inclusivity, and we want to ensure everyone is able to get their needs met. We depend on you to let us know how we can best serve you and your community. We welcome your ideas, questions, and suggestions for improvement, especially on topics that might feel difficult or uncomfortable. Additional expectations. As we work together in our common mission to end hunger, we each comply with certain best practices that will ensure effectiveness and the integrity of the network. We do have other required trainings with agency relations will help you understand what they are and who should take them at your program. We also require an active board of directors. This is also a requirement from the IRS for all nonprofits. Programs cannot be used to foster or advance religious or political views or an agenda. We must follow data privacy laws and respect the confidentiality of our clients, donors, and volunteers. And we cannot require clients to provide an ID, piece of mail, or other form of address or identity verification. Consider that requiring IDs or identity verification can be very intimidating to some. Undocumented workers or people with undocumented members in the household may be afraid to share this type of information. It can also be difficult for people suffering from mental illness. So ask yourselves what if this is really needed, and ensure that it is not a requirement or a barrier for someone to access food. Because we are looking to end hunger and looking for programs that are sustainable and have the scope to support their community, we're looking for agencies that also provide continuous programming and access product at least once every quarter from Second Harvest, or once every 3 months. Orders must be at least 500 pounds for delivery or pickup. We also ask that agencies have a budget for food expenses and that invoices are paid to Second Harvest by the due date. And please notify Second Harvest of program changes. If the primary contact or other important contacts change, if you're looking to move or start new programming, please let us know so that we can work with you to find you resources and make sure that everything is in compliance. And we do site visits at least every 2 years to stay in touch. What support can you expect from Second Harvest? We have other online trainings tailored by role. And again, agency relations will help you understand which ones are required of you and who might be the best person to take those trainings. We have numerous resources for board development. We strongly believe that an engaged board is crucial to the success of a program. And so we have a lot of resources and have put a lot of, we will put a lot of support around board development if your program needs it. Again, we provide that individualized consultant for your program so that we can meet your program and your community's evolving needs. We provide training about statistics and a consultation tailored to your program. We also have a library of resources and sector experience to help support you. I did want to touch a little bit on ordering and delivery as well. Please be sure to share this information with your volunteers or staff, especially if you don't do these tasks yourself. Questions about ordering and products, please call agency relations so that we can help you walk through that. And please be sure to cancel or reschedule your order if you're not going to be open to receive. So if you need to close, perhaps due to something like COVID outbreak or cleaning or for the weather, please let us know. It's also important to receive, check, and notify. So when you receive a delivery from Second Harvest or anyone, it's important to unpack, sort, and store that delivery as soon as possible. Please check for order accuracy. We want to make sure that you're getting what you ordered and we haven't made a mistake. You should also check for labeling on packages. Labeling is required for distribution at food shelves and grocery programs. So please ensure that there are labels on items. If there is not, you'll need to contact Second Harvest. You'll also want to check for food safety concerns. So things like package damage, rodent infestation, things like that. Please contact us within 3 business days of issues. And please report all issues, no matter how small they seem to you. We want to know for our internal quality control, and if you need credit on this item, it will ensure that you can get the credit. For receiving your deliveries, please assign at least one person to greet and direct the driver. Stay back at least 6 feet from the driver and pallet jack. The pallets can weigh a ton or more, and pallet jacks don't have power steering. It can be very dangerous steering those through people and areas, so please keep everyone clear. And please ensure that your receiver knows the estimated delivery time. Don't make their delivery a surprise. Some other delivery tips. Please ensure safe access for the truck. So for example, if the truck has to offload on the street, consider using cones to designate a loading zone. Or if they have to pull into your parking lot, consider having people park away during the delivery time window. Delivery is to your door. The driver may bring pallets inside if they feel it's safe to do so. The driver will decide. If the pathway is too cluttered or the doors aren't wide enough, the driver may not feel comfortable bringing the pallet into your building. Please be prepared for winter. Pallets need at least 4 feet of clearance and cannot move in snow and ice. So please shovel to the pavement and sand or salt. Your driver may not be able to drop your pallet where you'd like if you have not done so. And please make sure we have accurate receiver information on file. Occasionally, drivers do need to touch base with the receiver, and it's nice for them to be able to reach someone quickly. And again, please call to cancel or reschedule your delivery if you will be unable to receive. And please share this information with your receiving staff. If you don't have someone or a team assigned for deliveries, please consider this to help make your deliveries smoother. The Agency Relations Department will be working most closely with your program. And here is what our team does at a glance. We provide customer service 5 days a week. We respond to all calls and emails, and we have expertise in excellent customer care. We also provide compliance support. We provide individualized consultation based on your program's evolving needs. We'll visit agencies every 2 years, and we have expertise in compliance resources and best practices. In addition, we'll also connect agencies with sector resource and second harvest programs. These specialists also provide individualized consultant based on your program and community's evolving needs. We will advise you on how to maximize programs available from Second Harvest, and we have a great deal of expertise in sector resources and best practices. We do have a few case studies to illustrate the work that we do with agency partners. So this is a customer service example. In this situation, Best Backpack Program had a new shopper who was unable to get online shopping to work. And they also hadn't received something they had ordered on their delivery today. They reached out and we walked them through their logon and gave them some tips and tricks for shopping. We were really glad they told us about the missing Craggy cups as well. And what was the result of this interaction? The shopper was able to log on and had her questions answered about shopping. She was happy to find out that she got credit for the missing item. And now she knows that she can call Second Harvest whenever she has a question or issue with her order. Now here's an example of compliance support. The situation was ABC Food Shelf was confused about who needed to take food safety training and had no idea how to handle recalls. And unfortunately, they had just received a half pallet of recalled Zippy Zaps from their food rescue retailer. They called Second Harvest for help. What happened? A specialist sprang into action, immediately assisting with response to the recall by reviewing the recall notice and providing instructions on next steps. They then worked with the food shelf coordinator to create a food safety training plan that fit the program's needs. The coordinator also asked the specialist for info about food dating and produce quality because they had been getting a lot of questions from their volunteers about that. And to help with future recalls, they also received a recall plan template. What was the result of this interaction? The recall was quickly handled, and the items were removed from the food shelf before even getting into clients' carts, and that's great. Plus, they now know exactly what they need to do next time. And the coordinator and volunteers are really pleased with the new food safety plan, and they all feel more comfortable receiving donations, sorting food, and stocking shelves. A capacity support example. In this situation, 123 Food Shelf was in a real pickle. They were really short-staffed and were having difficulty recruiting new volunteers. On top of that, they also had several board seats turn over without replacement. With only one paid staff person, they were feeling overwhelmed and worried they might have to reduce hours. So what happened? To fill the immediate need for volunteers, a specialist connected them with RSVP for their county. And just as an aside, RSVP is a volunteer service for seniors that is available in some Minnesota counties. So this is an example of a tailored solution for this particular agency. In addition to hooking up the agency with RSVP, the specialist met with the executive director to discuss this current volunteer program, the changes they wanted to make, and goals for the program. They both used the volunteer toolkit and other resources to create a plan and met a couple more times to work on that plan. The specialist also attended a board meeting to provide support to the ED and information to the remaining board members. The board chair and ED then worked with the specialist on a recruitment plan and new bylaws for the board. What was the result of this interaction? The board chair led a successful effort to add new board members. The new volunteer recruitment plan gained 10 new volunteers. One of the new volunteers even agreed to fill the newly created volunteer coordinator position. The ED was ecstatic about having help with the volunteer program, as now they have more time to focus on other projects. What a win-win in all of these situations. So in addition to the agency relations team, you may be working with a number of other staff at Second Harvest that directly support you. But we want to make it really easy for you to reach us. So please contact agency relations whenever you have a question. You can call us at 651-209-7990 or email orders@trueharvest.org. I also want to strongly encourage your feedback. We want to hear your concerns, questions, and suggestions, and hope you will feel comfortable sharing with us. Please document this training. You will receive an email confirmation for this training within about 2 to 3 business days. A copy of this presentation will be included. Documentation may be requested at site visits, so please save the email confirmation either with your paper or electronic files. Thank you for taking the time to complete this training. You can find other trainings on Agency Zone as well. Thank you once again for taking this training. Please contact Agency Relations if you have any questions.